Then let's raise the big question. Is Rahul Gandhi's idea of India in conflict with that of Narendra Modi? That's our talking point tonight here on India at 9. Joining me now, Shankar Iyer, Congress MP, someone who knew Rahul's father also very closely, Rajiv Gandhi. Also joining me, Piyush Goyal, BJP MP and Treasurer, who is really the heart of the economic think tank of the BJP. Joining me, Shankar Iyer, author and one of the country's leading political economists and writers now. TV Mohandas Pai, chairman of the Manipal Education Society, joins me there from Bangalore, and also with us Manini Chatterjee, editor of the Telegraph, senior editor with the National Affairs editor with the Telegraph, and Pallavi Ghosh, Deputy National Bureau Chief of CNN IBN, who tracks the Congress for us. Appreciate all of you joining us. Shankar Iyer, some would say that Rahul Gandhi's speech was not that of someone who aspires to be the Prime Minister of India, but more of a college student still coming to terms with his thoughts. How do you respond to that? That Rahul Gandhi is still yet to come out with his clear vision for what he really stands for. There are a lot of fine thoughts there, but no clear big vision.
He stands for those fine thoughts. And please understand what those fine thoughts are.
Yes.
Instead of being arrogant, instead of pretending that he has all the answers, instead of projecting himself as the great Führer, as that other guy, what's his name, Modi, keeps doing on every platform that he can find, here we have a man who reminds you that everything about India is complex, that there aren't simplistic answers of the kind that Narendra Modi specializes in. He asks that you deal with compassion, not with figures that boast that you're the greatest messiah of development. Here is a man who understands that if you're going to understand India, you have to go to the people of India. Here's a person who understands, like Gandhiji did in 1931, that unless you empower the 1 billion people,
yes,
there is no point in relying on 3 families that own $50 billion worth of assets in India.
But Mr. Shankar Iyer, where are the solutions? Where are the solutions being offered?
Who also just 1 second.
Yes,
who also finally understands that if you don't have harmony in our society, if you pit one section of Indians against another, then you're not going to have an India which can grow forward. So everything he said represented his vision. It represented a person who is intelligent enough to understand how difficult it is, and who's honest enough to say that it is difficult.
But Shankar Iyer, that idea of India is not original. The idea of inclusive growth is not an original idea. The point is, the Congress has been in power for 9 years, for the last 9 years. It's been in power for 50 of the 67 years since independence. The country wants solutions. The country knows at one level, yes, that we would like a more compassionate India. We would like an India with inclusive growth that puts the focus on the Aam Aadmi, but it hasn't quite happened that way at the end of the day. So Rahul Gandhi does carry the baggage of that inheritance.
But isn't it an amazingly honest confession that we haven't lived up to what we ought to have lived up to? And that therefore the answer has to lie in rediscovering the essential mission. To my mind, there was a complete continuity between the thinking of my friend Rajiv Gandhi of my generation and what I heard today from his son Rahul Gandhi. The discontinuities which we have suffered in the last 20 years are being understood. The advantages of those discontinuities are being taken into account, but we are returning to the basics, that ultimately it is 1 billion people. In Rajiv's case, it was 800 million people.
It sounds all very well.
He was the one who insisted
very well, Mr. Iyer,
that the fundamental answer.
Mr. Iyer, you've been a proponent yourself for Panchayati Raj. Sorry to interrupt. You've been a proponent yourself of Panchayati Raj. You know that Panchayati Raj has not worked in the way you would like. You know that the Congress is centralized.
True.
You know that decision making takes place in Delhi, not at the grassroots. Rahul Gandhi has identified the problems, but he offers no solutions. Theoretically, he may be fine. Practically, he is not.
He has understood the essential point that whatever else may be India's achievements, unless you empower the 1 billion people of India to rule themselves, you will not be able to progress. And that is why the example of the beehive is excellent. Any individual bee is at the mercy of everybody else. But a gang of bees are the most disciplined unit that is known to creation. And therefore, I think he's got it right. We mustn't look for some elephant that has learned to dance. We have to see whether we can mobilize all of society, and since he specifically mentioned the Panchayat Raj system, I think he's arrived in his first days as Vice President of the party at the conclusion that Rajiv ji came to after 4 years as Prime Minister.
Well,
there's continuity and therefore there's hope.
You know, it's been 30 years since Rajiv ji spoke of Panchayati Raj, and many will believe it's an incomplete, unfinished agenda, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Piyush Goyal, respond to what you're hearing from Manishankar Iyer, because there will be those who will see the contrast between Rahul and Modi today in terms of their style as much as substance. Critics of Modi will say that in contrast to Modi, who is a lot about himself, about what he's done for Gujarat, the bhindi comes from Gujarat, the milk comes from Gujarat, Rahul appeared a little bit more willing to listen, to accept his mistakes, to admit to failure, to admit that he doesn't have all the solutions that Modi claims to have. Do you see a difference in style and approach?
Yes, Rajdeep, there's a big difference, but at the outset, may I just mention that both Rahulji or Manishankar do not understand the meaning of compassion. They have both used it. Rahulji said it's to listen.
Yes.
And of course, Mani also used it. But just for the information of everybody, compassion is to have some kind of a sympathy. And then with that sympathy to have pity. Unfortunately, all that they can offer is sympathetic pity when they talk about this compassion. I think what Mr. Modi offers is action on the ground to turn the fate of millions of Indians into a bright future, into a prosperous future. He doesn't take 65 years to learn the lessons which the grandfather, or in fact the great-grandfather, grandmother, father and now son took 65 years to learn. We had the grandmother 42 years ago, which is about the age of this young man, say that Garibi Hatao will be my mission of life. We heard his father say, as Mani himself says, he discovered it after 4 years of government 25 years ago. This young gentleman talked about Kalavati 5 years ago in 2008. We haven't seen a shred of nuclear power. There are millions and millions and millions of poor Indians still crying for power, for electricity. He has detached himself from the realities of India, used some slang language which may sound very appealing to that set of people sitting in the CII audience,
right?
But which does not reflect the urge and aspiration
so you
of
don't,
the youth.
You don't think he came across? You don't think he came across as sincere as compared to your leader, who some believe comes across as arrogant? That's the point Manishankar Iyer is making.
Because my
Mani
leader
is saying
believes in
that Modi comes across as arrogant.
My leader,
yes.
Not at all. My leader is in fact the one who listens, understands and acts on it. He doesn't take years and years to understand. He's quick on the grass. He understands the problem, quickly goes to the root of the problem, addresses the problem, acts on it, and makes sure that his is the finest performing state in the country.
Okay, so you're saying your
like
chief
they
minister
want to do in the name
I
of
get your point.
Minority, in the name of poor. He says everybody will get rights, everybody will get actionable ground level work,
Piyush,
which his state will deliver to them. And he doesn't just make promises, he believes in actually ameliorating the poor's problem.
Okay, so you believe your chief minister is action oriented. Rahul Gandhi, by contrast, you believe is someone who is only who's only making speeches but not translating it into effective action. Mohandas Pai, I know industry rarely challenges the political class, but how would you compare a Modi speech with a Rahul? From a corporate perspective, Rahul offered a partnership today to industry. Is that attractive, or is Modi's claim to take his Gujarat industry friendly model to the rest of India?
No, Rajdeep, like most things, the solution lies somewhere in between. Modi has got drive, energy, a problem-solving attitude, and a move forward. And Rahul offers us something else that we all need. compassion for the poor, the needy, making sure that everybody is included in what we do and all that. I think we need much more of that, the hard side of life and the soft side of life. I think the solution lies somewhere in the middle. We do need very strong leadership at this point of time to inspire people and make sure things work, because India is a very complex society.
Right.
But we do not need the kind of crony capitalism that is prevalent in India today in many areas, where some industrialists have captured regulators and the government and get what they want. We need a more inclusive society.
Yes.
We need more empowerment for 1 billion people. All these are good statements. But how do you make it happen, Radhip? We waited 65 years for all this to happen, and we've not seen it happen. Like you said, the Congress ruled for more than 50 of the 65 years. When are we going to get it? That is what we want to know.
That's right. I'm going to put that to Mani. He skirted around that issue. 50 of the 65 years ruled by Congress. What has the Congress done in terms of empowerment, in terms of making India truly a beehive of billion energies? But Manini Chatterjee, have the terms of the debate been set in a sense in this election year? Rahul spoke the language of a bottom-up approach, inclusive approach in politics and growth. Modi is speaking the need to achieve higher numbers, faster growth, saying I will bring Gujarat to the rest of India, focused governance. One speaking the language of compassion, the other much more of commerce, one possibly a NGO, the other a CEO. Do you get that? Do you think that two contrasting personalities are now setting the terms of the debate?
No, absolutely. I think today Rahul's speech was, this is not, in terms of substance, he said this before, even when he became vice president, that the system is clogged. That time he was addressing the Congress party, now he's addressing the industry. And inclusive growth, harmony, these are his pet themes. But I think what was very significant was he was addressing the CII, industry, to say that there is a buzz now that it doesn't matter, Modi's divisiveness and polarizing figure doesn't matter as long as he delivers on growth. He's decisive, he's robust, he's macho, he's muscular.
Yes.
And that is attracting a lot of particularly corporate boardrooms and upper class drawing rooms. I think Rahul was, without mentioning Modi, was giving this a kind of warning that this inclusiveness and harmonies are not just moral imperatives, but they're also economic imperatives if you want your growth to continue. If you have someone like Modi who can alienate a whole lot of people, industry is not going to prosper.
But at the end of the day,
he never actually said that, but that was
but that's true. That was the subliminal message. But Shankar Iyer, from an economist, from a political economist perspective, do you believe that at the end of the day, industry is looking for numbers? There is a can-do approach which they are also looking for. That there is a fatigue with corruption, with sloth that they want to get rid of. That yes, there is the fear which Rahul has put in the minds of people about the need for inclusive growth, of taking everyone along. But purely from an industry perspective, does industry look at a Modi model which focuses on higher growth, or does it look for a Rahul model which talks of compassion without clearly telling us how compassion will actually result in higher growth?
Well, the industry is really looking for flowers on which the bees can go and collect the honey.
Right.
What we are seeing here now are two different approaches. In India, we tend to individualize success and institutionalize failure. What we are looked at today is essentially two approaches. Modi represents personality as the force of his personality as the instrument of change, whereas Rahul Gandhi is talking about the force of his idea as the instrument of change. That having said, the question that gets asked is, if we know the problems, what did we do in the last 9 years? So willy-nilly, Rahul Gandhi has acquired the anti-incumbency of the Manmohan Singh government in this debate. Because people are going to ask, what did you do for 9 years about education, about skills training, and about decentralization? The only man who championed Panchayati Raj, and he's sitting there on the panel, was chased out of government.
Yes.
So the questions are going to crop up now. You have the diagnosis, what is the prescription? And mind you, the prescription will be extremely disruptive, because the party will have to sustain loss of power. People who are brought up on pelf will have to give up power, because the moment you dismantle the centralization, and this government has really centralized a lot of stuff, so the moment you dismantle centralization of power, economy will boom, the billion bees will prosper. But what happens to the party? Can he sustain a party?
You know, that's the question, Mani Shankar. A quick response before I turn to Pallavi on that. You know, what Shankar Iyer says is the nub of it. Rahul wants to claim that he's out here to change the system. But let's be honest, the system will resist. You have a status quo system. Rajiv Gandhi spoke, if you remember, in 1985, that I'm going to get rid of the power brokers in the Congress. He wasn't able to do so. Rahul Gandhi now says, I'm going to decentralize a highly centralized system. It's not going to happen. As Shankar said, you spoke of Panchayati Raj, you were chased out of government. Let's be clear. The Rahul Gandhi vision is nice in a seminar room. Can it actually work in real India, in a real Congress India? You are a centralized structure. You are a dynastical structure. Are you ready to open up? Are you ready to be a bottom-up and not a top-down structure? Honest answer, Mani.
My honest answer is that precisely because Rajiv Gandhi did not translate his Congress centenary speech into action, he lost the election.
He wasn't allowed to.
It's a great pity that
he wasn't allowed to. Your party is unwilling to change. It's a status quo party. Do you really believe the Congress will change, Mani?
It can change. I was just going to say that he first lost power in 1989 and then he lost his life in 1991.
Yes.
And that was something that has set us back by 20 years. And when I listened to Rahul today,
yes,
and I heard only bits of it on television,
yes,
I just found a resurrection of the ideas of Rajiv Gandhi, which fate did not give him the opportunity of translating into action, especially after his defeat in 1989. And if we can go back to that continuity,
yes,
then I do believe that even there's only one person who can achieve it.
Yes.
And that's Rahul Gandhi. If he fails to,
yes,
then there is no hope. If Rahul is persistent and determined to complete the task which his father began conceptually, and from what little interaction I've had with Rahul, I get the impression that he is, then I think we really have a future as a party, leave alone as an individual.
So you're living in hope.
I do believe
you're living in hope, Mani, you're living in hope that the Congress party will try and change. It's a status quo. Quick response, Piyush Goyal, to what you
live in despair.
A quick response.
We were the party of Mahatma Gandhi, of Nehru, of Rajiv Gandhi. We had the tragedy of two of these three dying. We now have a young man who's almost exactly the same age as Rajiv was when he went away. And I do believe that we are back on the right path.
You know,
your speech that Rahul made today indicates where we are moving.
You're bringing up Rajiv Gandhi, believing that you see in Rahul Gandhi the image of Rajiv Gandhi. Quick response, Piyush Goyal, to that Rahul fills the Congress today with hope. He's offering hope. That's the big thing.
Rajdeep, on the contrary, he has derided everything that the Congress has done. He has derided his own cabinet, his own prime minister, and if I may venture to say, his own mother, who runs the NAC and is the super boss of the Congress. So I don't know what is the game plan. Is he, and with Digvijay adding fuel to the fire just 2 days back, I think basically it's an indictment of his own family. He has criticized his own family, calling it an accident of fate that he is over there. He has criticized his own DNA by saying that my DNA is wrong because in 65 years or 90 years that the family has almost ruled over India even before independence. They have not been able to set things right. So actually he has himself exposed him and his family to the reality which the people of India have now seen.
You know, Mani, I want a quick response to that because Piyush, hold on.
I admire.
Piyush, just hold on.
In Gujarat, we have the same system.
Piyush, I get your point.
In Gujarat, we have the same systems which are prevalent in the rest of India. Mr. Modi does not give small excuses or useless excuses. He performs. He says, I can work with the same bureaucracy, within the same system, within the constitution of India, and provide succor to everybody.
You know, a quick response, Mani. Quick response to what will be the recurring theme. Piyush, just a minute. I get your point. Recurring theme is 65 years, Congress has been in power for a majority of those years. Rahul Gandhi comes now in 2013, tells us what's wrong with the system, a system of which the Congress has been a huge beneficiary. You know, there is a question that you raise of hope, but why should I trust Rahul Gandhi? Why should I believe that he can change anything?
Everything that Piyush derides about Rahul
Yes.
is what I admire about him. Instead of being a stupid drum beater to his boss in the way in which Piyush Goyal is being,
Yes.
he has the honesty, the courage to get up and say that whatever else we may have achieved,
Yes.
there's a great deal more that we need to do.
Yes.
And that a fundamental paradigm shift is needed
Yes.
from thinking that a Gandhi can solve everything to understanding that only the people of India can solve the problems of India. Now, if this doesn't amount to an absolutely inspiring vision,
Yes.
I don't think the alternative, which is being propagated by Piyush, of a man who is responsible for displacing
Yes.
so many people in Gujarat, that 76% of the displaced persons in Gujarat, according to the 12th five-year plan, are tribals, whereas in the rest of the country it's a much smaller figure. There is so much disruption in Gujarat. There is such a favoritism being given to the fat cats of Bombay, and since Piyush belongs to that group, I'm not surprised that he loves it.
Let's not get personal.
My country to be run
let's not-
by
I
a
think
person
money
who thinks
deserves
he's
a
on a
little
white
bit of-
horse.
No,
and
let's
can
not
solve
get
this
personal.
country.
Let's not
money,
get personal.
money should know.
Yes.
But Rajdeep, since
Yes.
he has,
Yes,
since
yes.
he has called me
A fat
some
cat.
names,
He's called
money
you a
must
fat cat.
know
Yes.
that in my party and my leadership, we don't have to suck up to leaders like him. He has barely got to meet his own leaders sometimes, whereas in my party there's an open access. We go up and talk to leaders, we learn from them, we give them a few ideas ourselves, and we are able to actually contribute to the nation's building, whereas he is acknowledged that he's not even been able to reach and meet his own leader, forget doing any good for the nation.
Okay, so you're saying that there are two different cultures. The political culture of the BJP is very different to that of the Congress. Before I take a break and carry forward the debate, Pallavi Ghosh, I just want to know the big question that is being asked. You followed Rahul closely. He's been reluctant to even meet the media, speak so openly. Suddenly he comes before the CII, captains of industry. Was this carefully chosen? That this was the kind of gathering which was going to be Rahul's coming out speech? That is this part of a strategy now that Modi is speaking more and more, SRCC coming to gatherings, reaching out, as Manini says, to a particular section of urban middle class, that Rahul decided, I need to also speak to them? Was this a conscious strategy of the Congress?
I think so, Najib, and I think he was extremely careful in choosing a very careful atmosphere. Today, CII, the business community, no tough questions coming in for him. He knew, that's been his brand of politics. The Congress has always nurtured him, indulged him, been extremely careful about the situation he finds himself in. I think pretty much of that was seen today at the CII.
Is he still being cotton-wooled, Manini? Somewhere is he still being cotton-wooled? That, he's not going to face the rough and tumble, nice CII audience, easy questions asked, questions which he doesn't even directly answer. Someone asked him a question on water, he spoke on structural issues confronting the country. Asked question on center-state relations, he spoke on the importance of the panchayati system. This was a very nice little, cozy little club before which he was speaking.
Yeah, but you don't expect him to come to your studio. I mean, I think, Rahul Gandhi has
part of the
chosen
problem, he's been in politics for 9 years. We still
No.
don't know his stand on specific issues.
No, but
we
I
don't
think,
know what he stands on
this, I
multi-brand
think
retail.
he doesn't want to talk on specific issues.
doesn't want to talk on
because
specific
he's not
issues.
in government. I think he doesn't want to get into the domain of government, because then we will all say that, oh, is he trying to say that Manmohan Singh is wrong and Chidambaram is wrong? I think he's very studiously focused only on the party. The problem is that he hasn't been able to deliver on the party. That's I think after 9 years, maybe he's doing something in the Youth Congress,
Yes.
but we do not see any great transformation in the Congress party. And even Manishankar Iyer does not reflect the kind of humility that Rahul Gandhi is trying to advocate. So I mean, whether it is decentralization, whether it's power to the people, if Rahul Gandhi can transform the grand old party, the Congress party, to the vision that he wants, that in itself will be a huge achievement. Forget 2014 elections.
Okay, let's take a break at that point. When we return, we are going to then raise that big question. Is there a contrast between an India shining vision that is being offered by a Narendra Modi, and is there another vision that Rahul Gandhi is offering of an India beyond the bright lights? My panel will stay with us. Let's take a short break, come back with plenty more on a day when some believe that Rahul Gandhi has finally at least spoken out. Let's raise once again the big question on India at 9 tonight. We're asking you, contrast in India shining vision and India beyond the bright lights. Is that the kind of contrast that is being raised at the moment? Let's go straight across to Shankar Iyer. Shankar, is that a sense you get? Narendra Modi talks about Gujarat shining, which he says he will take into a new India shining vision. Rahul, on the other hand, talks about an India beyond the bright lights, talks about his train journeys that he goes on Gorakhpur, talking to the poor, the migrants, saying no one can be excluded from a Mumbai, no space for a country where you say Biharis can't come to Mumbai. Do you sense two different visions of India? Because both talk the language of empowerment and aspiration, but seem to come to them from entirely different perspectives.
Well, there are definitely two different approaches. Modi approaches his ideas with an inbuilt sense of pride in them, and he wants to inculcate the sense of pride among the youth and among the people, among industrialists and everybody. Whereas Rahul Gandhi is speaking the language of compassion. Now, there are two different approaches to government also. Modi is saying that I am going to use the system and deliver solutions. Rahul Gandhi is talking about an open source government, almost like an Android model of operating system where people, other people, the billion people come and place their apps and India grows. So you're talking about two different approaches. What matters really is who's got the outcomes and who's got the track record. Rahul Gandhi, unfortunately or fortunately, has not been in government for the last 9 years, whereas Narendra Modi has been in government and has something to show.
Is that Modi's big advantage?
There is a difference of approach.
Is that, do you believe Modi's big advantage, Shankar? The fact that he's got this 9 years of track record means that he can come particularly to captains of industry and say, look, I've got Gujarat on double-digit growth track, look at my track record. While Rahul Gandhi at the end of the day carries the burden of 9 years of Congress's mixed legacy.
Well, you know, before Google started, I mean, nobody gave a shit about Google, but Google succeeded. At the same time, General Electric has been there for so long and it still is a big company. So you can't really compare the positions into advantages or disadvantages. But the issue really is who can work the system.
Right. Who can work the system? You know, Mohandas Pai, you have two different, in a sense, approaches towards these notions of aspiration and empowerment. The fact is that Rahul Gandhi is telling industry you can't just focus on growth and numbers. You also need to make sure that growth is not about making money, it's about creating jobs, it's about compassion. How well will this go with industry in an era of low growth, where industry is desperate first to get back to that 8% growth track? You heard the Prime Minister yesterday only talk about that. Now Rahul Gandhi, as Sitaram Yechuri says, comes with a completely different idea of how this growth is to be achieved. Is there a confusion you sense?
Yes, Rajiv, there is a confusion in the Indian policy makers' mind to think that both are in contradiction to each other. In fact, they are not. We can have high growth and compassion, as many corporations in this country have done. Companies have created sustainable organizations which look at compassion as a means to an end. What Rahul has spoken about is the means, and what Modi speaks about is the end results, the outcome. Now we have to match both. Look at what happened to Chandrababu Naidu. Naidu went on the growth path. He gave a new vision to Andhra Pradesh. He did very well, but he lost the election because he didn't take care of the poor. He was one-sided. Now we must understand India is a collection of 4 different groups of people. There is the shining India, there is the emerging India, there is a static India, and there is a poor left behind India. And each requires a different policy, different way of doing things, and we should not deride one against the other. All 4 coexist and all 4 should go together.
But the
so
question,
I think we need a very different approach.
Yes, Manini, you want to make a quick response?
Yes. What I thought was exactly what I found interesting about Rahul Gandhi was he was saying that I don't want a tag of being pro-Dalit to him, and all these 4 Indias, he didn't use the word 4 Indias.
How is he going to do it?
No,
you see, the question is that here is industry.
Unlike what Money would, like he's very critical of the whole 20 years of economic growth.
Yes.
I mean the Manmohan from 91, he's open about it. There are people in the Congress who think that rubbish is it. Some people like Montague are in the growth thing. I thought Rahul was trying to strike that middle path in terms of a vision thing.
He was trying to strike the middle path. It was interesting, Manishankar Iyer, that he didn't refer even once to you in his speech, but he referred about half a dozen times to Montague Singh Ahluwalia. it seems that for all the talk of Panchayati Raj, he derives his inspiration in a sense from the Montek Singh Ahluwalia model. You know, and do you get a sense that Rahul Gandhi is confused at one level? That he's not sure what is the economic direction he wants to really push ahead with. How far do you take the Manmohan Singh reform model? And he needs to be more specific about that.
When I came home after a very, very busy day,
yes,
the first thing my wife said to me was, you know, he kept on taking Montek's name,
yes,
and he never took yours.
Yes.
Well, I'm delighted he didn't take mine, because I have not been in charge.
Yes. No,
whereas Montek has.
No, but the point,
I believe that it's not a question of whether Montek's name is taken or not taken.
Yes.
He stressed all the points which his father, with whom I worked very closely, used to stress, and I don't care a damn whether he mentions me or not, whether he includes me in his team or not. What I want to see is 1 billion Indians shining, and not some capitalist doing very well there while driving out the tribals from their homes.
But how? The question is how. I think that is the critical question. How are you going to live?
It's very simple. The critical question, Rajiv, is that in 1992, we started a process of economic reforms on the one hand, and a process of governance reforms through the constitutional amendments that Rajiv Gandhi had conceived. Unfortunately, the economic reforms wheel has moved forward very fast, whereas the Panchayat Raj wheel has generally broken down and often been deliberately punctured. If what you called the middle path a little while ago, of maintaining high rates of growth, but ensuring that people are empowered to also become participants in that growth process, we've got the ideal situation.
So you have now
we want both an India that is shining and Indians that are shining. And Modi ignores Indians because he's obsessed with himself. Rahul is not obsessed with himself. He thinks of the 1 billion Indians, and that is much more important than any kind of figures that you might wish to throw around.
Piyush Goyal, you know, this middle path, there is one view that Modi is taking the Gujarat shining model into India shining. There is another view that now Mani and a few others are advocating. Rahul is looking for the middle path, compassionate capitalism.
Rajdeep, Rajdeep, first of all, I think you need to, all of us understand that employment generation, skills, all of that will happen simultaneously with growth. It is not the case, I think, of anybody at this panel that programs like Manrega, where you are literally handing out doles, are going to sustainably solve India's problems. I think what we need is the Modi model, where he says, I'm going to make sure agriculture also grows at 7%, rather than giving up like this government has, that having 3.5% growth in agriculture is the best they can do. Modi says, why can't we talk of double-digit agriculture growth? He's already brought it up to a CAGR of 7%. I'm sure very soon he'll take it up further. He talks of bringing jobs in manufacturing. He talks of bringing jobs in tourism. He's looking at issues where we can look at getting everybody a job, a self-respect, an income. Today there is no joblessness, there is no unemployment in Gujarat. Probably the only state.
No, that's not true. No one denies Narendra Modi his numerous achievements. Let's be honest, there are questions also raised over crony capitalism. There are questions that are raised whether the poor in Gujarat still remain, tribal areas still suffer. So I don't think Modi has offered all solutions as yet. But you're saying that Modi believes that through high growth, solutions will be offered. So it's a growth-driven model. Your point is well taken. Let me, in conclusion, ask all my panelists, and I'll start with you, Pallavi, first. Those references to Montek. Did you get a sense that there was something there that Rahul is also searching for his own Manmohan? He doesn't want to get into the specifics. He would like a Nandan Nilekani or a Montek Singh Ahluwalia to handle the specifics. That Rahul in that sense is not a micromanager. He wants to look at the big picture and look possibly for his own Manmohan. He is not even serious about being the party's prime ministerial candidate in 2014.
I think so, and that's been Rahul's very safe kind of politics. I think it is a 250 plus situation for the Congress party. That's the only time I think Rahul Gandhi really can be thought seriously.
He will only become prime minister if the Congress gets over 250, which seems almost impossible at the moment. So that seems unlikely. Manini Chatterjee, did you get a sense, as I said at the start, that this was the speech of someone who is really wanting to be prime minister, or still a student struggling with his thoughts to come up with his idea and grappling with the complexities of India?
I think Rahul Gandhi doesn't want to be Prime Minister. He's not hankering after the post. And I don't think he's looking at 2014 as we are looking at 2014, or as Narendra Modi is looking at 2014.
He's looking at 2019.
Possibly 2019 or even. I think he really believes, whether he's naive in his belief, he really believes that he was destined to play a bigger role, and being Prime Minister is very peripheral to that. Sense of destiny.
Some would say that is,
you can say delusions of grandeur.
He may have delusions of grandeur.
But he's sincere. That's what I feel.
He's sincere. Shankar, do you believe he's sincere, or does he have delusions of grandeur when he believes that perhaps he can actually change the system?
Well, faith can move mountains, and I think he is sincere. But I think that the present model which they have followed is the model that is going to be followed, which is the shareholders will nominate a professional as the CEO.
Yes.
And that is the model that is going forward.
Okay, the model is going to be that of a CEO. You know, Mohandas Pai, you get a sense that if you had to choose a CEO, I'm asking you to choose a CEO, not a Prime Minister, you'd choose Narendra Modi and not Rahul Gandhi, because you want a Mr. Fix-It CEO who is able to get the job done. Rahul Gandhi is a visionary. If you wanted a visionary, you might choose Rahul Gandhi. You want a CEO, you'd choose possibly a Narendra Modi. It's almost like a Narayan Murthy versus someone who's more a CEO type.
What I would say is, Rahul Gandhi brings the compassion. He needs a capitalist like Nandan Nilekani to make the country work. Narendra Modi brings in the capitalistic point of view and the growth point of view. Right. He needs a compassionate part of Narendra Modi to make sure that he connects with the people in a very different way.
So Narendra Modi needs a more compassionate leader possibly, while Rahul Gandhi needs someone who's more of a CEO. Yes, Piyush Goyal, quick response to that. Narendra Modi also, you cannot take Rahul Gandhi for granted in that sense, because your leader too needs to make certain adjustments.
Rajdeep, we never take anybody for granted. I think we give due respect. Yes. And he does come from the country's first family as of today.
Yes.
So we have great hopes and aspirations that after 9 years also, he would have talked of what he would do.
Yes.
Unfortunately, all he's done is deride his own government.
Right.
But I just would urge you to look at the definition of vision.
Yes.
Because I'm amazed that a person such as you found a vision, because I thought the entire address was completely devoid of vision.
Okay.
It was only talking of keeping the poor, rather than telling us how he's going to give them jobs.
Yes.
Rather than telling us how we'll connect India, which he's talked of.
Yes.
Rather than telling us why his government provided only 20 lakh jobs in the 9 years that they were in power, whereas even my government in 6 years provided 6 crore people with employment opportunities.
Let me say, let me just correct you.
To be a complete failure.
Let me say, I'm not providing any vision. I'm only on television. The final word to you, Manishankar Iyer. Manishankar Iyer, I want you to contrast. You were close to Rajiv. You wrote his speeches. Rajiv's vision thing was 21st century India, power of technology. Give me that one thing that you believe is Rahul's vision in 30 seconds, because the feeling is he's still searching and groping for that one big idea. 30-second money.
Thank God he's searching. Thank God he's groping. Thank God he has the humility to know that he doesn't have all the answers. But the 30-second answer is that he understands the imperative of Panchayat Raj, and Modi has no idea what Panchayat Raj is. If you do not understand Panchayat Raj, you do not understand India. And we have to save our country with the help of the 1 billion bees in the beehive, and not look at some leader, some Führer, some guy who's got Tyson and Krupp behind him, which is what the model being advocated by my friend Piyush Goyal. He's welcome to his Modi. I'm delighted to have my Rahul.
Okay, he's welcome to his Modi. You're delighted to have your Rahul. Yes.
Rajdeep, my Modi offers implementation, action on the ground, speed, scale. He offers the vision, and finally offers less government and better governance.
I think that's a good point.
I think I would go with that rather than with a dreamer who's still not able to set his dreams.
Okay, we have a dreamer. We have a dreamer versus a CEO. Let's hope neither of them stings the country like a bee, if this is indeed a beehive. On that note, I appreciate all of you joining us. You've given us a really erudite exposition of two different visions that have been there. Nice to see no crosstalk, which is always the best way to have a TV debate. Thank you all very much for